Thanks for joining me today. I'm really excited about today's message because I know it has the power to change your life, but also to inspire you to greater things. In this message, you're going to see that you are an absolutely amazing person made in the image of God, and that you are worthy of honor as much as anyone else on the planet. Now that may sound an astonishing and almost unbelievable fact, but I want you to know it is absolutely true. By the end of this message, you will feel a whole lot better about yourself. So don't miss it. Well, Mark 1 verse 11 says, "A voice came from heaven, 'You are my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased.'" There is a sermon right there in the Father saying to his Son, honoring his Son, and saying, "In you I am well pleased." And I think it's a message to every father, every mother in this house, that we let our children know that we honor them, that we bless them, that, well, we are pleased with them because of who they are. And maybe they're not the best kids in town, but how important it is that every son, every daughter hears these words from their parent, "You are my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased." See, Jesus was honored by the Father. And you know, this wasn't just an honoring done in secret. It wasn't like the Father honored Jesus but never told him. So some parents say, "I love my kids," but they never tell them. They honor their kids, but they never tell them. But not only was it a one-on-one honoring of the Son, it was for the whole world to know. He shouted from heaven, "Hey, everybody, this is my Son, my daughter. I am well pleased in them." And see, what happened is Jesus then walked under an open heaven all of his life. And when we honor our family, when we honor our children, and even though they may not always be the best behaved, we open heaven over them. See, honor is based on what a person is, not on what they do. We'll get to that in a little while. The culture of heaven, Revelation 5:13, blessing and honor, glory and power to him who sits on the throne. Blessing and honor comes before glory and power. So the earth was meant to be a place of blessing and honor, and on earth heaven would come, there would be glory and power. I want to suggest we have created a world where it's no longer blessing and honor, it's dishonor and disrespect, and that brings cursing and defeat. So instead of blessing, honor, glory, power, it's dishonoring, disrespect, cursing, and defeat. You think about it, that's the world we've created. Dishonor, 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 disrespect, disrespect, disrespect. It affects us. And then we begin to reproduce what we see and hear all the time around us. And so we now have a society of massive dishonor and of massive disrespect. But you see, friends, it's as we honor and bless others that it opens the heavens over our lives, but also opens the heavens over other people's lives. As you bless them, as you honor them, as you bless and honor God, it opens the heavens over your life. You reap what you sow. If you're a person of blessing, you'll get blessed. If you're a person of honor, you'll get honored. If you're a person of respect, you'll get respected. If you're a person of disrespect, you'll get disrespected. Hey, you reap what you sow. So let's go to Matthew chapter 13, 53 to 38, which so illustrates the power of honor. And we take it from the life of Jesus himself in Matthew 13. Here we go. Verse 54 we're going to start at. When he had come to his own country, he taught them in their synagogue so that they were astonished and said, "Where did this man get this wisdom and these mighty works?" It's like, who's this guy? Isn't he a carpenter's son? Isn't his mother called Mary, his brothers James, Jose, Simon, Judas? Sisters, are they not all with us? Where did this man get all these things? And they were offended at him. Jesus said, "A prophet is not without honor except in his own country and his own house." Now he did not many mighty works there because of their unbelief. So people here failed to honor Jesus for who he was. They failed to respect him, and it closed heaven over that meeting. Think about it. The Son of God could not perform miracles where there was dishonor. It shut the heavens. The opposite is honor opens the heavens. And this was his brothers, his sisters, and his neighbors. And friends, we are brothers, we're sisters, we're neighbors, all of us together. As we honor one another, it's going to release more of God's power. in our church, in our services, in our small groups, in our lives, and in the lives of others. It will open the heavens and miracles will flow. Let's go to Acts chapter 16 for another story that you may have not connected with honor. In verse 25, this is Paul and Silas. About midnight, Paul and Silas were praying and singing hymns, and the prisoners were listening to them. Suddenly, there's a great earthquake, so that the foundation of the prison was shaken, and immediately all the doors were open and everyone's chains were loosed. And the keeper of the prison, awaking from sleep and seeing the prison doors open, supposing the prisoners had fled, drew his sword and was about to kill himself. But Paul called out with a loud voice, his honor, saying, do yourself no harm, for we are all here. Then he called for a light, ran in, fell down trembling before Paul and Silas. He brought them out and he said, sirs, what must I do to be saved? They said, believe on the Lord Jesus Christ, you will be saved, you and your family. So I want to suggest to you that it was not so much the earthquake that brought the Philippian jailer to Christ and to salvation. You see, through fear of losing his prisoners, he was about to commit suicide. That's what happened. If you're a guard and your prisoners escape, you get killed. And so he's about to commit suicide. But Paul reaches out to him with love and honor and says, no, don't do it. Now you think about it, this guy could have been the one who whipped Paul 39 lashes. He's the one that could have made Paul's life miserable and put him in the stocks. Paul had every reason to ignore him and say, hey, you're going to get the fate you deserve, buddy. You're going to get killed because we're out of here. No, Paul doesn't do that. When he had every right to do that, he may have even thought that. He stops and says, no, this is a human life of great value. This is a person for whom Jesus died. So he honors the prison guard and says, no, don't do that. And as a result of that, it opens the heart of the prison guard and he gets saved and his family. I want to suggest to you that when we begin to honor people who are unsaved, who don't know Christ, who may be living a vile and terrible life, we begin to open the heavens over their lives. And I want to suggest honoring may be a greater key to people's salvation than we realize. Maybe that's why God's so big on good works. Go and honor people. Go and love the homeless. Go and, feed those that are hungry. And go into the prisons. And, whether they're rich or poor, it doesn't matter. Just go and honor people. He'll open heaven. And God can work miracles in their lives. Here's a quote. Honor is simply the morality of superior men. Honor. See, superior people honor others. Let's be superior men and women. Can I say dishonor is simply the morality of inferior men and women. Disrespect is the morality of inferior men and women. Let's become superior. Let's develop the grace of respecting and honoring others around us. When you want to be honored by others, learn to honor them first. See, the world and also in church circles, we mostly honor upwards, those who have position. Those who say, I get honored. When I go around the place, I get greatly honored. I've always struggled with this truth about honor because it always went upwards. Because the God I serve honors upwards and downwards. He doesn't just honor those who have achieved and are successful. He honors everyone exactly the same. We're all of equal value and of worth to Jesus Christ. And so he'll honor from the least to the greatest, if you like, because his honor is not based on what people do. It's based on the fact of who they are, made in the image of God. From the best person, if you like, to the worst, they're all made in the image of God. And so God values us equally. But one of our biggest struggles with honor is that we struggle to value and honor ourselves. When you value yourself, it's hard to value others. You don't honor yourself, it's hard to honor others. Derek Prince, after 50 years, he was helping people with problems. He came to this surprising conclusion. His conclusion was this: our basic problem is we don't realize how valuable we are. So to honor ourselves and to honor others, we have to realize how valuable everyone is. And what we value, we carefully look after. Is that not true? So you go and you buy a new car, or it might be secondhand, but it's still new in your eyes. You're going to look after that baby. You're going to polish it. You're going to wash it. You may even vacuum it from time to time. You even may put that black paint around the wheels. And, if you're driving around, you're doing a UE. maybe where you shouldn't be doing a U-turn, but you're doing it anyway. And you can see that your car wheels are going to hit the curb, so you stop and you back up because you've got this new car. 2 years later, you see the curb and you think no one's around, you just go straight over it. Who cares? The car's no longer, you're not valuing the car, so you don't respect it. And it's the same, isn't it, with our own families and our children? You know, because they're of great value to us, we protect them and we watch over and we look after them. We can say negative things about our kids and grandkids, but woe betide anyone else says something bad about them. They'll be in serious trouble, even if they're the biggest rat bags around. And you know, isn't it amazing? The more you value, the more you overlook. Someone else's kids, you're naughty brats. Your kid do the same thing. Oh, so cute. But what you value, you look after. But when we don't value ourselves, we tend to not look after ourselves as we should. And we sell ourselves cheap. Drugs and immorality and lying and cheating and stealing. Why do people do that, friends? You know, next time you see a homeless person or a beggar or someone that's just bedraggled and pretty rough looking, and you're tempted to kind of think, gosh, what a mess. Just ask this question. I wonder what got them there. I wonder what made them like that. Now, this is not true in every situation, right? But I want to suggest that in many situations, I would almost guarantee that that person has not been honored and respected as they should have been. And when you're not honored and respected, you don't value yourself. As I said, it's not true of every case, but I think in many cases, that's what happens. You see, honor opens heaven and releases people into the potential that they have and what God has called them to do. Mark 8:36-37 says, what will it profit a man if he gains the whole world and loses his own soul? Or what will a man give in exchange for his soul? So here's a question I want to ask you right now. How valuable do you think you are to God? How valuable is the person next to you, your neighbor, the man in the street? What is your worth? How much? Put a figure on it. Are you worth 100K? Worth $1 million? What are you worth? What Jesus is saying in this passage is, if a man gives his soul, sells himself and gets all the wealth in the world, every Porsche, every private jet, every yacht, every gold mine, all the money in the world, and he sells himself, he's made a bad deal. The gross world product is approximately $74 trillion. And Jesus said if a man gives himself in exchange for $74 trillion, he's made a bad deal because he's worth a whole lot more than that. So I want you to tell the person next to you, you are worth more than $74 trillion. Nice and loud so they can hear it. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? You are so valuable. So the next time someone offers you a few dollars, you just reject it. But the next time you see someone at a shop counter, at the gas station, at work, ask yourself the question, how valuable are they? I wonder how valuable that person is. Ask that question. It will change how you treat them. Because they're worth more than your house. They're worth more than all the houses in your street. They're worth more than all the wealth in the world. And when you begin to look at people with the eyes of God and see how valuable they are, you are going to look at every drug addict differently. You're going to look at every homeless person differently. You're going to look at your neighbors differently. You're going to look at your boss differently. You're going to look at those students that you go to school or university with differently, because you're going to look at them and say, man, you are worth more than $74 trillion. All the wealth in the world is not enough to buy you. Then you're going to be able to honor them. Then you're going to be able to bless them. So the question then comes, what are you worth? What is the true value of an individual? If it's more than 74 trillion, what is it? You know where you find the answer? John 3:16. For God so loved you that he sent his only son, that whoever believes in him would not perish, but have everlasting life. Jesus gave his life, gave himself to buy you back. He was the purchase price of your salvation. And if you were the only person to ever live on this planet, and there was no one else, Jesus still would have paid the same price to win you back. Your value is equal to that of the Son of God himself, equal to that of Jesus, way beyond $74 trillion. Because when you make a purchase, you never pay more than it's worth. You would not pay $10,000, would you, for a car worth $5,000? So God's not going to pay more for you than you're worth. So when he paid the price of the Son of God, he said, that's the value I attach to your life. You are as valuable as the Son of God. Matthew 13:45-46 says, the King of Heaven is like a merchant seeking beautiful pearls. And when he found one pearl of great price, he went and sold all that he had and bought it. See, Jesus is the merchant. The pearl that he purchased is just one human soul, yours or mine. It cost him everything he had. It said he went and sold all that he had, everything, to buy that one pearl, you, of great price. You are so valuable. You and I are the pearl of great price. In fact, we are priceless. It cost Jesus everything to buy you back. Go back to the days of the slaves. You know, if you were on that slave block and going up for auction, and Jesus was there to buy you, you wouldn't be sold for $50 or $100 or $1,000. $74 trillion wouldn't be enough. All the wealth in the world. Maybe you've never seen yourself as of great value. Maybe you look at yourself, you poor self-esteem. Look back on a life of pain and rejection, hurt, disappointment, unhappy childhood, a marriage that didn't work, career that never happened, years wasted in sin. Your past and your future convey the same message: failure, of no real value or worth. But friends, it's simply not true. Despite all your history, despite all your background, despite everything that's happened to you, Jesus valued and honored you so much, he gave everything to get you back to himself. You are the pearl of great price. As we realize how valuable every person is, it's going to be a lot easier to honor everyone. So I want you, in a big, loud voice, tell the person next to you, I am of immense value. Nice and loud, come on. Now, I wonder how many of you have never said those words before in your life. A lot of you, your words have power. Faith comes by hearing. I am of immense value. You want to stand in the mirror and say it every day. I am of immense value, until you actually believe it. Because when you believe it, you'll honor yourself. When you honor yourself, you'll open heaven over your life. You'll rise to your potential, become the person that God has called you to be. It all begins with honoring and valuing yourself and others. Mother Teresa was a champion at honoring. Here's a quote that I leave with all of us. Spread love everywhere you go. Let no one ever come to you without leaving happier. Wow, imagine that. Every person you met, every encounter, they left happier. Wow. I don't think I've fulfilled that, actually. Have I? Don't answer that question. Don't go there. All right. Mother Teresa saw those she ministered to on the streets as Jesus in the most distressing disguise. Because people asked her, how come she loved and honored the poor so much? You know what she'd do? She'd grasp their hand and wiggle one finger at a time and say, you did it to me. She saw the whole gospel in 5 fingers, alluding, of course, to Matthew 25, where Jesus said, I was hungry, you gave me food. I was thirsty, you gave me a drink. I was a stranger, you welcomed me. Whatever you did for the least of the brothers of mine, you did for me. The next time you're reaching out to someone that just seems hopelessly lost and, going nowhere, as you minister to them or you bless them in some way, remember you are blessing Jesus. You're doing it to Jesus. When you really have this revelation that every person is Jesus, often in a distressing disguise, it will change the way you treat every person that you meet from this day forward. They say it will change every encounter you ever have with another person when you see their true value and their true worth. Worth more than all the wealth, $74 trillion in the world. So I have here with me a pretty new $50 note. Now I can yell at this $50 note and say, man, you are so useless. In fact, why couldn't you have cleaned yourself up a little bit before you got into my hands? And in fact, why can't you be a $100 note? Why can't you be like those bigger notes? In fact, you are terrible. You're dirty. In fact, I hate you. In fact, I'm going to throw you away and crumple you, crush you. I'm going to stamp on you. I'm going to jump on you. Man, you're so bad. Now get out of my... No, well, don't actually. I still want to keep you. Smashed together. Useless. Piece of junk. Here's a question. What's it worth? Same. You see, what you and I have in common with the $50 note is what we call intrinsic value, meaning the value is in us. It doesn't matter what happens to us, it will always be in us, our value. It never changes. You may have been yelled at, abused, bullied, walked over, downtrodden, criticized, made to feel worthless, treated with great disrespect and great dishonor, had a terrible upbringing and life. But does that make you any less valuable? The answer is no, 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 1,000 million times no. It doesn't matter what's happened to you. It doesn't matter what's been done to you. It doesn't matter how you've been treated. It doesn't matter if you've been bullied. It doesn't matter if you've been run down. It doesn't matter if you've been treated as worthless and treated as trash and maybe even told that they wish you had not been born and you're a waste of space on the planet. It does not matter what has been done to you. Your value will never change. You are worth more than all the wealth in the world. Your value is equal to that of the Son of God. Don't let anyone ever devalue you again. At least don't receive it from them. Don't accept it from them. Regardless of what they say, you turn it around and you say, no, I am of immense value. I'm worth as much as anyone on this planet. It's important, friends, that we value every single person and treat them with the greatest respect. As we honor people, it's going to help them reach their potential. James 2:2-4 says this: there should come into your assembly, your church, a man with gold rings and fine apparel. And there should also come in a poor man in filthy clothes. And you pay attention to the one wearing the fine clothes and say to him, you sit here in this good place. And say to the poor man, you stand there or sit here at my footstool. Have you not shown partiality among yourselves and become judges with evil thoughts? That is a very challenging passage of Scripture for all of us. And you know, the wonder of this God that you and I serve, this wonderful Jesus, is that he treats everyone the same. He values everyone the same. So a person who drives up here in a Porsche and a three-piece suit and jewels all over him, and then someone else comes in with shorts and jandals and ripped shirt. As they walked in here, Jesus would treat them exactly the same. Exactly the same. Why? Because it's not what they look like. It's who they are on the inside. Made in the image of God. And I think that's all Jesus sees. I think that's all God sees when he looks down on the earth and looks at every person on the earth. Made in the image of God. Every one of them. Every person on the planet. He is an amazing God. Rich or poor, black or white, educated, uneducated, attractive, unattractive, professional, a laborer. With God, it actually makes no difference. We're all equal, of the equal value, and you are of infinite value and worth. You know, one of the real problems with honoring up, and we do it, I'm not going to go into it because you might feel I'm getting at you, but we do it all the time. We honor up all the time. Even at school, you know, you honor, people get honors. And there's nothing wrong with getting honors. But the danger of all that, and I'm not saying it's wrong, but the danger of all that is when you honor up, you dishonor others at the same time. Because they feel of less, they feel of limited worth. And most people are struggling to feel of value. Everyone you meet is of unbelievable worth, more than all the wealth in the world, more than $74 trillion. So let's bring this plane into land. Let's honor one another. Can I suggest we start in our homes? Those closest to us, husband, wife, kids, grandkids, honor them as much as we can, as best we can. Then honor those at school, at university, at work, in a small group, youth group, in church. Because as we do that, it will open the heavens over our lives, over the lives of those we love and honor, and over our church. And we will see miracles, answers to prayer, healings, breakthroughs, people rising to their amazing potential. And God will leave us astounded. It is true, you are of immeasurable worth, more than all the wealth in the world, more than $74 trillion. As you begin to see and understand just how valuable you are, it will help you to live out the life that God always planned and intended for you. I'd love you to follow me on social media, either Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or all three of them. You may find some of the teachings, testimonies, and quotes that I share helpful and inspiring. Please join me again next week.
Thank you for watching Running with Fire with Bhana from Church Unlimited. For more great free content, visit runningwithfire.com. You can send us your prayer requests and stream on-demand TV and radio episodes. You can also connect with Bhana on social media for regular inspiration. Church Unlimited meets in many locations across New Zealand. You are welcome to join us for a church service. Find us at churchunlimited.co.nz.